I felt massive resistance when I started actually putting myself out there. It was almost like I felt there was this glass ceiling above me that I couldn't break through throughout the time that we've worked together. The transformation I've gone through is just like it's exponential. My world just expanded into infinite potentials.
Hey, Zack here, and welcome to another client interview. We are speaking today with Tyson Holtzman. He is a stress and anxiety coach, and he joined the program to uncover the reasons why he was feeling this strong, unconscious, physical block. Every single time he would go out into the marketplace, he'd have to create content or engage with the target audience one-on-one or in groups or what have you, he'd feel this block come up. It was like this intense fear, and where he was feeling like judgment, fearing criticism, and so on and so forth. This was, as you can imagine, it was dramatically impacting his progress because he's good at what he does. He's a great coach. But this unconscious blockage was making it very hard for him to scale and grow his business. So we're here today to speak with Tyson and learn more about what his experience was like inside the program, how he's changed, and everything else. So let's get right into that interview. Really excited to do this interview with you today, have this conversation. And first and foremost, I just want to get started and introduce who you are. So if you could just introduce yourself, where you're based maybe, and what kind of coach you are, because you're a coach as well.
Certainly, you betcha. So my name is Tyson Holtzman, and I have quite an extensive background with addiction. And I got sober 4 years ago and started going back to college and getting my life all sorted out. And in the midst of doing that, I really dove deep into the world of like spiritual work and really working on myself and delving into that. However, like throughout those times, it was almost like I felt there was this glass ceiling above me that I couldn't break through. It's like I was able to stay calm and all those kinds of things, but I just kept getting triggered. And in the midst of going to college, after I got my diploma, I was like, I want to go online. I want to become a coach. I felt like I had a gift to share, considering everything that had happened in the past. And so I went in to go do that. And in the midst of doing that, I felt massive resistance when I started actually putting myself out there. And that was last year. And I actually went and got a safe job and realized that was not what I wanted to do. And I really wanted to get back to coaching. And so I went back, and I still felt this massive resistance, even though I had switched over from what I was trying to do last year to this year, where I started out thinking like more of like a stress anxiety coach, but really, as I'm really like learning more and more, it's really like a transformational coach, teaching people to really transform their lives. And when I seen what you were doing and a little bit of your work, I was like, I have to reach out to Zack, because I feel like I'm holding myself back, but I had no clue why. I felt like I was doing all the right things, and I was doing a lot of good things, but now I realized that there was a lot of stuff within that I had to release and let go of.
Indeed. Okay. So so let's talk about, let's set the stage and talk about what kind of coaching business are you creating? What kind of coach are you? How do you help people?
How would I want to help people? I really want to help people to be able to, I'll just start out by saying this. As I was doing research and work and stuff like that to build the foundation of the business, I became aware that I don't want to be the coach that teaches people only to reduce symptoms of stress, anxiety, and all emotional turmoil. So to say what I would do as a coach, I really want to be the person that is able to help people to go within, as I've done even more now since working with you, to be able to actually go to the root cause of stress, anxiety, and all those kind of things, and remove that. So, and in the same time, teach people all the mechanisms to be able to, deal with other things that arise that arise for us, right? But if one is able to go within and remove those root causes, like I've said before, like liberation is certain from from all these things. So to say what I want to do as a coach, I really want to help people to go within and deal with the root cause of stress, anxiety, and all emotional turmoil, because I lived my entire life in that state up until 27. And then after going to rehab and getting sober, which I'm grateful for, like every single day, I'm eternally grateful to be in this position. I realize now that I just want to share that with the world. And because it seems to be a widespread thing, like so many people are in this state. And even though that I was using drugs and alcohol or substance, we'll just say substance, to cope, I see a lot of other people out there, as I did my research, that they're going through the same sorts of things that I went through, only other people will choose different behaviors, different different means of escaping the inner world of our beingness.
Yeah.
And I just want to share what was so graciously given to me, because I was very close to not being here hundreds of times throughout my years in addiction. So
yeah, you have an incredible story. That was one of the things that really impressed me about you in our working relationship, working together and learning about your story, what you had gone through, what you had overcome. Incredibly resilient, to say the least. It's just an amazing story. And because of what you've experienced, you are so more than qualified than you can even imagine to be able to help people resolve the kinds of challenges that you've experienced yourself. And oh man, I'm just really excited for you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like through all the stuff we've done, it's like I still feel like in like there's a thing, and that's like trying to tell me no, like you're not good enough, but you've taught me everything that I need to do to just let those go. And it's like throughout the time that we've worked together, the transformation I've gone through is just like it's exponential. Like it's just like I went 4.5 years, from treatment, and then in the last 3 months, it's just like an explosion, like far beyond anything I could have ever imagined would have happened in this 3 months that we worked together. So
yeah, nice. Yeah, well, indeed, man. Thank you. So what would you say, like, if you were to say, okay, these were the main areas that I was most challenged with, how do you feel like you were holding yourself back before we started working together? What were you experiencing? What was going on?
Well, for me, it was like when I would go to, let's say, message someone or put myself out there, make a post and do something like that, I would literally have like this ball of energy that would rise up from the pits of my stomach up into here. That was just like, don't do it. Like and if I sat there with it and actually paid attention to the inner dialogue that was going on, it's just like, they're going to make fun of you. You're not good enough. What are you doing here, Tyson? What if it's wrong? What if this is going on? It was all these different things, right? And before we worked together, I would just kind of like ignore them. And it's almost like I guess I did suppress them, but I thought that, well, what am I supposed to do? I just didn't know what to do with all these things coming up. So I'd say I sabotaged myself, literally, subconsciously, like unconsciously, like the things that were within me from the past. Because if I look into my past, there's like my whole childhood growing up, I never felt good enough. Like when I was in school and stuff, I couldn't concentrate in school. My mind was always racing. And I watched other friends that I had would do super well in school. And especially when I got into high school, I seen people who were, let's just put it like they were having a lot of fun and doing a lot of crazy things at the same time, getting straight A's in school. And I was very envious of that. I felt less than. And that just followed me throughout my entire, like from as young as I can remember, I felt less than. And then it just followed me and got bigger and bigger. And then when I started using alcohol and other stimulant drugs, at the start, I'm going to be honest, at the start, that actually really helped my those things for me. But then after a very short while, let's go from like the age of 18 to maybe like 4 months later, it wasn't working for me anymore. Right. And in those times, there was a lot of darkness that accrued throughout my being. A lot. Well, like, to be completely honest, it's like I'm still releasing, and I'm going to keep doing it till that tank runs dry.
Yeah. It's a journey, right?
Certainly is.
Yeah.
It's a journey I'm going to be on.
Indeed. Yeah. So it's like, so it sounds like you're saying it was mostly like what you had experienced growing up, and for a lot of your life led you to feeling I'm unworthy, I'm not enough. And this would show up in when you were doing things that you needed to do to build your business, right? Putting yourself out there, reaching out to the marketplace and connecting with the audience and so on. And you would feel in that process that you would have this kind of energetic blockage that was clear. It was like it would come up when you were attempting to do what you needed to do to build the business, and it would go like, and cause you to stop or just stop moving forward, essentially, right?
Yes, when we talked about it before, it's like it used to feel like someone was strangling, like it would come up into my throat and it would just like squeeze. And now sometimes it feels like there's a little pressure there, right? When it comes up, and I just release it. I release it. And the thing about it is, all these things that were coming up and stuff, it was all within, like, I was already projecting what people were going to think about me, what people were going to say about me. And I would make conversations with other people or be in other people's heads, like trying to like think of what they were going to say about me before I could even put it out there. And that was holding me back from actually taking action, doing those things.
Yeah. Interesting. How long would you say that you experienced these blockages?
In building the business or in my life?
Well, I mean, yeah, those are two very different things. Let's talk about the business first. When did you really start to notice this?
Well, right when I started, actually, like when I went beyond the first time I went to make a post, I felt it, but I just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
But when I started doing this last year, I was trying to do a different thing than I'm doing now. And that I didn't feel that's what I wanted to do fully, but I really went for it. And there was a bit of like resistance there. But then after that, it was like it affirmed my feeling of being like a not enough, being a failure, because I tried one thing and it didn't work. Right. And then when I went to go do this one, I really held myself back. Like I feel like I held myself back more because I had that fear of failure lingering around there in my subconscious. So
yeah. Okay, so let's talk. What's it like now? How would you describe yourself now versus before we got started working together? What's it like now? Let's talk results.
Okay, let's put it this way. It was like my world just expanded into infinite potentials, infinite potentiality. I felt before there was a glass ceiling. I felt inhibited. I don't understand like what's going on. And now it's just like, my goodness. So like, as these things come up, I just continue to do exactly what you taught me to do, the things you taught me, and continue to have the courage to continue looking within and paying attention to when things come up. And then when they do come up, release them. And other, like, to put it, I don't know how to explain it any other than just like it went from like I felt inhibited to it feels like there's infinite potentials that I could tap into and to be able to release. It's like once I feel like, because of my past and all the years in drug and alcohol addiction and all the darkness that accrued, there's been multiple times, as I told you, like I would have like a purge where it would just like emotion would just come out. And I would just cry and cry and cry. And it felt so good though. Like afterwards, it was amazing. And that happened a bunch of times, but it was like this huge release of energy that came out of me. And yeah, I don't know how to put it into words other than that. Yeah.
You did it beautifully, man. From feeling inhibited to infinite potentiality, infinite potentials. That's huge.
I guess so. Yeah, you are correct there. That is that right there. That right there is me. Like that's like a little bit of a second guessing going on in my mind, which after the call, after this interview, I will release that because yeah. So,
but okay. So so you're saying that still occasionally you'll notice like a little bit of a moment where you're reminded of the old trigger or something, and then you know how to release and let it go in the moment.
yeah.
Does it come up far less often than it used to? Is there a change with that, or the frequency or the severity or anything like that?
Yeah, I'll say that it is far, far less frequent. And the severity, as I explained before, it felt like when I would feel less than others, it would feel like if I was trying to talk, I wouldn't be able to talk, and I'd feel like someone was like literally strangling me. And now it feels like maybe a little bit of pressure there, right? And as I've said, I do the release, I do the things, and I feel absolutely wonderful afterwards. And I continue to keep doing it. So it is far less frequent and far less intense. And when it does come up though, I find that like I can just, like, being an entrepreneur, I can just set it back. Obviously, if I'm on a call with someone, it's like I can sit back for a second and just be like, okay, that's the feeling that's there. What are the thoughts going by? And then I just couple deep breaths and observe and see what's going through my mind, right? And then I realize that, like, okay, and I just write a couple things down, do some release work, go back to work. And then at the end of the day, I'll have like a list of things that were going on in the different times. Like, this is what happened when I was triggered. And in keeping track of things like this, it has very much brought so much clarity into my recovery. Let's put it that way, to expanding myself, which is beautiful, like absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful, man. Nicely put. Would you say there were any kind of fears that you had going into starting this program?
Any fears going into this program?
Yeah, like any kind of uncertainties or anything like that you had going in that was on maybe kind of a doubt or a question mark in your mind?
I had seen some work that you had done, and I followed along in that work that you did. And I had a moment there where I was like, I knew 100% that I had to reach out to you. So no, I didn't have fear or doubt or anything coming in. I just felt like it just felt an inner knowingness. I absolutely have to work with Zack, and I did it. And I am eternally grateful that I did. So.
Yeah. Well said, man. Nice.
Yeah.
What about surprises? Were there any surprises that came along that you weren't anticipating before you started?
I could say it was quite surprising when Kundalini energy started shooting up my spine. And then that went on for like a month. That was pretty wild. When I was doing the release work, it was like an absolute awakening. It was, words can't even explain. It was like the divine just blasted forth in front of me and illuminated my beingness. And in the midst of all this, like, my family and things started getting all lined up. My wife went to treatment, and she's still sober now and doing well. And my daughter's doing quite well. And I keep taking action and doing things like I wasn't really doing before. And there's no other words to put it. It's there's no words to really explain other than that. So
epic. If you could describe, or not describe, but if you could speak to the previous version of yourself now, what would you say to that guy now? Right now, if you're speaking to the version of you before you started, and what would you say to him now?
I would say, you are right. You are right, my friend. There is more. Don't ever stop looking. Like, don't ever stop pursuing it. Like that's really what I would say, because I was so indecisive before, and I would question things that I thought, and I would question a lot of things. I would go through my consciousness, and I don't do that very much anymore. And the second I do, I address it. I'm just like, okay, why? What is it that's going on for you? Why would you second guess that, Tyson? And I just take a second and I don't try to think of an answer. And then the answers most often just come to me, which is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you tapped into your kind of intuition more, in a sense.
Yeah. I feel that I was somewhat tapped before, but I was second guessing every time if something just felt right. I need to do this. I would always be like, well, what if this, what if that? I don't know. I don't like, is that really what's going on? And I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore because when I feel that inner knowingness, I take action on those things and then things happen. That's really neat. It's really neat. Yeah.
Tyson, I'm really happy for you. Congratulations on all your progress, your wins, your continued success, and your ability to just take action and stay consistent and committed to the process. That's why you are where you are right now.
Yeah.
Because of your readiness, and your readiness is evidenced by your commitment.
That's what I've been telling a lot of people when I talk to people in my town here and talk to my family. It's like, it's just relentless devotion to the truth. Relentless devotion to the truth. And to me, like the true nature of reality right now has been sprung forth, that the truth really is that there's only ever this present moment. And the second I start going into the past and like thinking about that, I'm in the past. Start worrying about the future. Oh, I'm in the future. And I just bring myself back and take action in the present moment. And if I go off, I have to, like, it's a must, just bring myself back. And then it's like, this is taught a lot of different places, or different places I've seen and read, but like, it's a win every time you come back to the present moment. And winning feels good. Winning's neat. So it's like, keep doing that. And eventually it's like you spend more and more time in the present moment. So.
Well, Tyson, man, thank you so much. I appreciate the time that you took out for our conversation today. And I look forward to continuously watching you win. I know your clients are in very good hands.
Definitely.
So thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate the time. Thank you.